excited.
Hello and welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. You guys, it's our 1 year anniversary and we're a little punch drunk. We are just a little slap happy. So,
Yes.
welcome to our 1 year episode. We've been doing
Welcome.
this for a freaking year.
Yes. And we're so excited. It's been a great year. And God, we've learned so much. I'm just like, wow. And every, mishap, I think throughout this year, we've kind of realized, the goofy sides and the weirdness and all the patterns. So yes, it's been a fun year.
Yeah.
I love it. So, well, as you all know, just to kick it all off today, so I'm Laura, and I own ODAA Virtual Assistant Agency, and ODA is other duties as assigned, which is kind of what we do. We help you delegate work to staff so that you can focus on what you need to do in your business. We're here to help you out with those kinds of tasks and dealings. So, and Angelique, you want to just...
Awesome. Yep. I'm Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions, and Lady Powerhouse Solutions is a heart-centered approach to offering project and event management to women entrepreneurs who are on fire and lighten up the world with their passion and drive. And we help them achieve their missions in the most authentic way possible.
Absolutely. So together that makes us Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. And here with this podcast, our mission has been to empower women in business and life to live authentically, but also to support each other instead of competing with each other. Angelique has said several times throughout this year that yes, we are considered competition in the world, but we don't come from that mindset. We are here to support each other, love each other, help each other, do what just needs to be done in order for us to live harmoniously. That abundant mindset that we have, we realize that the more we help each other, the more that we help in our own business and the communities don't suffer when we're doing those kinds of things. So that authenticity through our personal and our business relationships help to empower women to do the same, to not see it as competition.
Yeah, and to normalize the challenges that we face as female entrepreneurs and share the lessons that we learn. The common goal of the podcast is really just to lift other women up, never tear them down, normalize what it looks like when women succeed at supporting each other, helping each other build up our confidence, and encourage each other to use our gifts and passions to fulfill our life calling, right? Like what we're here to do. And so our goal is to build, maintain, and grow this sisterhood of a sisterhood that believes in an abundance mindset, sharing the challenges instead of like putting up that facade or that only showing like the good stuff, the wins and things like that, but sharing the challenges and what we learned from them, how we got through them so that we can help each other rise to our highest potential. Right. We have a fantastic, amazing guest today.
We've been so excited to have you back. All right, so I am here going to introduce to you all Lisa Hammett. Lisa.
Hey! Hi, ladies. So good to see you.
Good to see you too. So
great
Lisa
to be back.
It is great to have you back. We're so excited. So Lisa Hammett is an accomplished motivational and TEDx speaker, an international best-selling author, a success and mental fitness coach, and a wellness expert, helping stressed and burned out business owners and executives develop mental fitness to manage stress, improve productivity and communication, as well as regain their health and wellness. With over 26 years of experience in the corporate retail industry, Lisa knows firsthand the toll that stress and burnout can take on individuals. After a transformative health and wellness journey where she lost 65 pounds, Lisa decided to dedicate her life to helping others achieve their health and wellness objectives. Lisa has positively impacted the lives of thousands of individuals, empowering them to make lasting changes. Her first book, From Burnout to Best Life, How to Take Charge of Your Health and Happiness, reached bestseller status in 16 categories globally. So we're so excited. And there's been other things that have been going on this year.
And when we first had you on, you were just about to release the book. And
Yes.
so, and here it is, a bestseller in 16 categories. So congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you. It's been an amazing journey. I
Yeah.
can't believe it's been a year. I just
Yeah.
cannot.
Me
It's
neither. It's
crazy.
flown.
I know. It's insane. Insane.
It's hard
So
to imagine.
very, very cool. So I
Yeah.
know I was looking at the notes from last year, which was October 4th. You guys, it's to the day.
Mhm.
Wow.
And isn't that
Wow.
odd? Because
That is
we were
odd.
doing it on a different day last year. We
Yes.
recently
Yes.
switched from Tuesdays to Wednesdays, so that's another thing. But I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but we talked about mental fitness,
Mhm.
boundaries, and of course burnout, because we were promoting the book and talking about the book
Oh,
and about the release and everything else. So um, you've had, like you said, a heck of a year. So let's
yes.
catch up, girlfriend. What's been going
Sounds
on?
great. Let's do it. Oh my gosh. So I think, did I talk about my TEDx when I
Yes.
think I did. I shared a little bit about that and how there was the microphone incident, which was kind of crazy. But fortunately, with mental fitness, I got through that. But what's interesting is now I talk to audiences. It's just kind of morphed into the healthcare industry and also HR. Those are like the two areas that I guess like to see me often. And so I was in Savannah last month actually at a national conference, and it was pretty awesome. And we talked about work life balance. So, yeah, so
Very
lots
cool.
of,
Very
yeah.
cool. That note for was for Lisa, not you, Laura.
Oh,
Anyway, um, you're so funny.
talk
I
about
just
technical stuff behind
Laura,
scenes.
yeah, we're like IMing in the background. So, but since we last met, you mentioned that you got some certification, and
I
I
did.
was really curious to hear about that. It's called Positive Intelligence.
Yes, it is. So, and it ties in perfectly to just kind of the goofiness that has been transpiring before we came on the air.
What do you mean before?
I know, right? Every day, all day long. So, yes, I recently got my certification in positive intelligence mental fitness. So, I'm technically a PQ coach, and that stands for a positive quotient. And basically, what that means is I help individuals like yourself actually recognize negative thought patterns that can impact behavior
Ah,
and how that impacts our lives and our
mhm.
relationships with others, our productivity at work, our mindset overall. And learning not only how to recognize but intercept those negative habits or thought patterns that we have
Yeah,
and shifting to a positive mindset so we can have that successful vibrant life that we
yeah.
want. And
A
it's
little bit
also,
of reprogramming.
yes, it
Mhm.
is. It's a lot of reprogramming. So, and it ties in, well with the issue that we had with my internet trying to come on. So, so that was
Yeah,
fun. I didn't even
yeah.
think that I would
Lisa
get
was
on
a
to
couple
see
minutes
you.
late, and I was really worried. I was like, "Oh my God, we haven't heard from her. She didn't email. Maybe she forgot." And
I'm
because
like,
that's when you're
oh,
live, that's always a
Mhm.
concern, is that you're going
Yeah.
to have a no show.
yes,
And so, but no, she was just having some technical issues due to the weather.
yes.
So,
Gotta love the
but
weather here in
handling
Texas.
that, right? Like just kind of
Yes.
like staying calm, not freaking out. We didn't freak
Yep.
out. We were like, well, I guess we'll just talk about her behind her back if she doesn't show up.
Right.
That would have been interesting. Oh, I would have liked to
Yeah.
have
Right.
heard that
Let's go
later.
stalk her live on the internets, the interwebs. Let's see what she's up to and just talk positive about her. But so this positive intelligence it sounded a little bit like NLP, neuro
It's
linguistic programming.
Yeah, it's not. I kind of. I guess how it retrains your brain.
Okay.
Yes, but the technique is very different. You actually engage your senses So, for example, why don't we just do something right now? We can show. Let's
Shall
just do
we?
that. So let's see. Imagine that we're stressed right now. Okay. It's things,
Oh, I don't have to
technology,
imagine that.
whatever. I
Right.
know, right? It
Right.
happens every day. It happens every day. So it just, imagine that you're feeling that negative energy, kind of
Mhm.
bubbling up, and you're like, okay, I need to calm down. I just need to relax. So what you can do, you can focus on one of your senses. So I want you to look at something in your environment. And this goes for the audience too. If you're listening, I want you to just look at something in your environment that you can see. And I want you to really zero in on it as if you have never seen it before. So it might be something that you look at every day, but I want you to notice like tiny details, colors, shapes. If there's light on it, it could be a reflection in the surface, but I want you to stare at it really intently.
Okay.
Okay. So that's one thing that you could do.
Okay.
You could also focus on something that you can hear. And, if you're in an environment, like I have a fan going on in the back,
You know
so
what?
I
I
could,
do too. I just realized I probably should turn that off.
oh, I can't hear it, so I think you're good. But, it could be the sound of a fan. I mean, obviously I'm talking, so it could be the sound of my voice. But whatever it is that you hear, and then if you're in a really quiet space, you could focus on the sound of your breath. And then another way that you could do it is something that you can touch or feel. And this is really what helped me like through that TEDx moment when my microphone wasn't on. But I rubbed like two fingertips together, just to the point of where you can really feel the fingertip ridges of your fingers. Are they dry? Are they smooth? Getting really focused and present. So, what all these little things do, it doesn't sound like that much, but if you're super stressed, what it does is it's taking the focus off of that stress and what's triggering you, and it's focusing on something just not that important, but just something to kind of quiet that. So then that negative energy just kind of dissipates, and then you can transfer to a more positive mindset. So, if you really need to focus because you're trying to complete a project, then, you can regain that mental clarity. Or if you're talking to somebody and they're triggering you and you want to wring their neck, it's
never
kind of
happens
causing
to
you to just
me.
kind of calm down a little bit so that when they stop talking, that never happens, I know.
Right.
You can respond more appropriately instead of just, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
So
Or saying something that you wouldn't normally say.
exactly.
I've had that happen to me where they're experiencing a stressful situation and it's not, I didn't cause it, but
Mhm.
they're in it. But
Yes.
maybe I text them and then they respond and I'm like, whoa, where did that come from?
Hmm.
Because they're stressed and they respond either like really out of character or they're just real short or what have you. And I always take a step back and go, don't take it personally. It's probably not about you. More than likely, not about me. Right.
1000%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking, it sounds really, really, really close to what I do when I'm having and experiencing anxiousness.
Hmm.
When I'm having anxiety about something, you just get present
Yep.
and you count or you touch or
Yep.
you take some deep breaths or you find something that is tangible and present. What can I hear? What can I see? What can I smell? And I feel like a lot of times for me, it's a form of distraction. It's distracting me away from what's stressing me out.
Hmm.
Exactly. That's
And
exactly
Yeah.
it
what it
kind
is.
of
Yeah.
like removes it and makes it not so important.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Remember last time we were talking about that, where you're in a meeting or you're in something where it's not, you can take 5 minutes and leave, and go and do that. So little things that you do behind the scenes to get that quick calm for that moment, and then whatever you need to
Yes.
deal with after,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Laura and I have had you need to mute Laura. Laura and I have had a lot of transition this,
Okay.
this just lately, in our businesses, in our, just generally in our lives personally. And I feel like it's like almost everybody I talk to now, I associate with more women than men, but
Hmm.
almost every woman I've talked to is like, I just went through this huge ordeal, or I just went through this awful experience with my business or my partner or my personal life or my children or whatever. But they're coming out of it right about now, and they're
Hmm.
starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, or the, the, they went through a health issue and now work is that they're able to focus and do more work,
Hmm.
or they had a bad experience with their business and now they're healing from it. They're, and they did the hard work and they've taken accountability for what they were responsible for, and now they're moving into this new, more positive phase, right?
Hmm.
um, and it just feels like such a common theme this year. And I just mean like not just for me, but like almost everybody I interact with, that I talk to. Have you? So I want to know, Lisa, how has your year been?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because I'm in a mastermind for book authors who are also speakers, and we were talking about that. And actually, it started with my publisher, and she mentioned, she said the summer was just really tough. It was, and I mean, she has a vibrant business plus years, super experienced, great network. And she's like, it was just, where is everybody? It's just so weird. And then she said, fall came and things just really started to open up. I don't know if it's, and I've heard that sometimes fall is almost more of an inflated, like, new year feel than the actual new year,
Mhm.
because schedules tend to become more structured. Even if we don't have little kids or kids in school, the summer months, there are vacations, the weather has changed a lot. So our schedules, our activities change. So people have a completely different type of schedule, in
Mhm.
the summer. And a lot of times it puts people just kind of out of sync, you know, and and that's just normal because when our environments change, which they do in the summer months, our behavior changes.
Mhm.
So, coming back into the fall and more structure, and we tend to assess, oh my gosh, the end of the year is looming, and where are we in relation to our goals? And
Mhm.
hopefully you're not, meaning the audience is not panicking and saying, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near them. That would be horrible. But it's time to, like, really reassess. So again, it forces you to be more structured.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of this kind of up in the air, disheveled, kind of awkward feeling that you kind of described in a lot of different cases is now becoming a little more, I don't want to say composed, but I think you get where I'm going with it. Is,
Yeah. Mhm.
things are just
Yeah.
kind of, okay, we have more of a rhythm. So I feel like a little more in control. I feel like I'm making
Yeah.
more of progress, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I think that you nailed it. Like this, for a lot of entrepreneurs, um, it's about what we have control
oh, totally.
of and influence of. And when
Yes.
we don't feel like we have that, it's very discombobulating. That's my word for it.
Huge. Oh, and
Yeah.
that's a perfect word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and for those of us, and again, I think the entrepreneurial personality, we thrive on structure, and
Hmm.
we thrive on like having that, like you said, that routine.
Hmm.
And summer, it, even if we don't have kids in school, it's still, summer is different. The days are longer. We can
Hmm.
fit more in. even if we probably shouldn't,
Right.
you know?
That's
And
true. It's true.
I'm looking forward to the end of the year and the holidays because for me, I'm in a push right now. I have set a goal for myself, like many of us do. We
Yeah.
set these goals for ourselves to have something accomplished by the end of the year.
Hmm.
And so I'm really working really, really hard towards that.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, but then after the end of the year, I'm like gonna take a freaking breather. I'm not gonna work 16 hours a day,
Good for you.
and I'm not going to, like stress over things and I've gotten really actually really good at not stressing on stuff. I got enough to worry about. I don't need that all up in there
Yeah.
messing with my head, you know.
Yeah.
So
I have
so
to
talk,
agree. Yeah, the end of the year is where that big push, where the end of goals come in, and what's really going on. And for we've kind of been trained from childhood that summer is playtime.
Yeah. So
No
true.
matter how many years you're out of childhood, summer is still playtime in a whole
Hmm.
lot of ways. And I know I get really bad spring fever, which I got every year in school, come like March, April.
Hmm.
I was always just like in the clouds for until the end of school because that was that time. It's that playtime, and I'm still that same way as an adult, where
Hmm.
springtime comes and I am just so excited and intrigued that I have a hard time focusing. So I think businesses also cycle in those kinds of atmospheres of what's
yeah,
playtime, the holidays are family time. This is what happens here, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's very interesting.
It is.
no
Most
doubt.
definitely.
So for those who are listening, even if you're listening to this, a month from now, a year from now,
Yeah.
Mhm.
um, would love to hear if any of this is resonating with people now, later, whenever,
Yeah.
Right.
and hear your thoughts on it because
Yeah.
it's and part of it is self-imposed. We do this to ourselves.
Hmm.
I No one's making me meet this goal. No one is forcing me to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and every day and do the things.
Hmm.
Right.
It's part of it is self-discipline, part of it is um, motivation and seeing that deadline looming less
Hmm.
than 90 days away, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, October, November. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
90
now less
days.
than
Less
90
than
days.
90 days.
We
It's.
are freaking into October
I
officially.
know. I know. It's
I don't know where it
insane.
went. I don't know where it
It's
went.
crazy.
So, and it kind of goes into ideally, you want to be checking in with yourself pretty consistently. So it's not like, oh crap, I've got 90
Mhm.
days left and I'm nowhere near, where I need to be. But it's important too, especially as the seasons change and our lives change and behaviors change, that we're flexible to that too, because so many times we try to stick to routines that maybe worked for us at a certain period in our life, or maybe during the summer months when things tend to be a little more relaxed, and
Mhm.
or maybe you moved, or you're in major scaling mode in your business, whatever it is, what
Yeah.
worked early on may not work now. So you
Mhm.
got to be flexible. And I'm not saying give up on your goals by any means, but be flexible. And, it's human nature to try to just force ourselves to continue and, this thing that used to work before, but
Mhm.
it
Yeah.
doesn't always continue to work. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So how is business different for you now than it was a year ago?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's, it's funny. And this was the intent when I wrote my book. It was to open doors for speaking engagements and to really partner with organizations to help educate, staff or members on, stress management and that type of thing. And the speaking just exploded. And it's really exciting to see.
Cool.
I do a lot of virtual have done a lot of virtual, but now it's just big conferences, which is so exciting. So I mentioned I was in
Do you get to
Savannah.
travel?
I do. Yeah, I was in
Awesome.
Savannah a couple weeks ago. I'm actually going to Winnipeg, of all places, for a workplace wellness conference, which I'm super excited about, the 1st of November. And then I go straight from there to Chicago for a Women in Healthcare conference. So I'm excited about that as well. And then I've just been applying for a lot of different things in the spring. And there's something pretty close to finalizing at a conference, a healthcare worker conference in March, a 2-day conference. So then I have other things,
Awesome.
that I'm working on. But I'm finding I love the speaking, and I always
Good.
enjoyed it. It was fun, but I get so much energy when I am in a room of people who are very engaged and interactive. And if you remember, when I spoke with y'all back in April of, what was it, 2022, I think it was, at your VA conference in Dallas or in
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Richardson.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. I got so much energy because you were your team was just so interactive, and it was just so much fun. And that just energizes me because I like to really make the speaking engagements more about the audience than
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, I'm going to speak on a certain
Right. You have a
topic.
message.
I have a
Right.
message, thank you. But, I want it to resonate with people, and that's what's fun about it, is really
Yeah.
just engaging and
When
listening.
you see it resonate, when you can
Yes.
see it
Yeah.
resonate on their face,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
or they're furiously writing. I always like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so gratifying. It really is, because then you feel like you're making a difference. Because how many
Mm-hmm.
times have you or the audience, have thought about, wow, I feel like I'm doing good things, but I just don't. You
How
just
do I
don't feel like
know?
you're getting that validation, and I'm not saying that you need constant validation, but
Right.
it is really nice that when like you said, Angelique, when you see somebody furiously writing, or they're nodding or smiling, or you can tell when somebody is really,
Mm-hmm.
engaged and connected.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty powerful. It's pretty
When that
powerful.
energy comes up, you feel
Yes.
that engagement. So you're feeling theirs too, which brings yours up, and that feed
Yes.
off of each other with that excitement and motivation always, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can
Absolutely.
get that online, but in person definitely is where your most impact usually, where you
Agreed.
can feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a synergy that happens on live events that no amount of virtual event is no matter what you do, how many bells and whistles and tricks and chats and interactive and polls, it's not the same as being in the room.
No,
Right.
it's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, so what about challenges over the past year? um, what what kind of challenges have you faced, and how'd you get through it, and what'd you learn? Because that's really what our podcast is about. Is like, all right, let's share some
Yes.
life lessons here so you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yes. So I'm just going to put it out there. We talk about it often. Imposter syndrome. I get imposter
Mm,
syndrome just like everybody else. And I consider myself a pretty confident person most of the time, but man, sometimes I get it, and I don't know if it's that you're more tired one day, or how it is. You just
mhm.
sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm just not feeling it. The energy's not there.
Oh my God,
And
she
you're just
nailed
like,
it.
I'm
You're
like,
just like, oh,
Yeah.
ugh, and
Yeah.
it's terrible. And so I am a firm believer in affirmations. And it's interesting, in my group today, when I was talking about that mastermind group, we had a speaker, and she talked about affirm mantras. Have you ever heard of that?
mm,
I had never
Mm.
heard of that, and I want to make sure I get her name right. It's Dr. Amanda. I don't know her last name. It was just Dr. Amanda, but she is a coach, author. Anyways, I'm like, affirm mantras. That's so cool. So when you wake up and you kind of feel like that and that imposter syndrome's coming in, it's like, am I really making a difference? I'm not qualified. All that mind trash garbage that we say.
Right.
It's it's one thing to say what you're grateful for. That's awesome. But sometimes when you're in that mindset, it's hard to go there. But what she said, which really resonated with me, was okay, so ask yourself, why are you really feeling that way? Okay, you feel that way? Okay. You don't feel like you're qualified for some reason? Okay, so let's lean into that for a minute. And it would be similar to really like me having a coaching conversation with somebody, because I would say these things, but you're saying it to yourself. So you're almost like coaching yourself, which I think is kind of cool when you think about it that way. And it's like, okay, I'm feeling this way, and why? Okay, and just kind of validate it and then reframe it. And she would say things like, I choose to be this. Because sometimes when we practice an affirmation, it's like, oh, I make, abundance. Money comes to me easily and frequently all the time, whatever it is that
Yeah.
what we say. Well, sometimes when we're in that funk, we don't believe that. We're like, okay, I'm just reciting it, but it's not doing anything to change that energy or that mindset. So that law of attraction doesn't work. But when she says, when you just are present, you recognize it, and then you say something like, I choose to be, or I allow myself to be, then you're like, okay, I choose to believe that. And it's kind of like a stepping stone instead of just saying, I get this or I do this, when you're not quite to that level, but I choose to think that I can do that. So, which I thought was a really cool concept. And I'm going to use that technique actually going forward. So, challenges, imposter syndrome. Clients come and go, and that's great. And I don't want to be coaching the same person indefinitely for years, because that means that
Right.
I'm not doing my job. So I'm always kind of sad, when they go, but I'm happy too, because I know that, wow, they've achieved what they needed to achieve, and now it's time for them to apply what we've talked about. They've
Right.
grown, but sometimes it's kind of sad, and you feel, again, that's that imposter syndrome. Oh, well, maybe I wasn't qualified and they're quitting, which is a load of crap, but
Right.
and I'm sure we all say that in our business. So anyways, that's just a little thing that resonated with me. Is it's an mantra, not an affirmation and not a mantra, but it's an mantra, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I do too.
And the idea of being in choice, we were talking about that last week, was being in choice. Like, I choose, I'm in choice. You're always in choice no matter what. And it may not be the choice that you want, or it may not be the, the options.
And not
but
making a
you're in
choice is a choice.
Yeah. Just
So
no matter
true.
what, you're always in choice. So
Yeah.
I love that.
1000%.
I recently did it's been a week or two ago now, a podcast called Book Leads. And you pick a book that influenced you, whether it's business or personally. And the book I chose was The Secret.
Oh, that's such a good book.
And I had not read it up until I think the beginning of this year.
Really?
Maybe it was the beginning of last year. I can't remember now. But
so what was your big takeaway?
Well, okay. So first of all, I knew about this book for 10 years, like since it came out. And I was just like, I don't believe in that stuff. I didn't. I was just like, you just can't say stuff in it and it just poof, it's there. But that's not what the book's about.
No.
That was my big takeaway. Was it's not about, oh, hey, you say this and it happens. No, it's not about just saying the things. Yes, that's a fantastic start to get yourself reprogrammed, right? Yes. Part of it is our internal voice and what we say to others, and what we I had a friend who's a behavioral therapist, a behavioral specialist, not therapist. And well, maybe she was a therapist, but anyway, she said something to me one time that like shifted my whole world. I was in a very abusive relationship. And she said to me, just because he calls you that does not mean you are. You choose whether you want to own it.
Mm.
Right.
And okay, it just gave me goosebumps again. But like, I was like, wait, what? And she said it to me. You're like, all right, a little louder for the people in the back. Okay.
Mhm.
The lizard mind or monkey mind or whatever you want to call it. But, and that's part of it. That's a start. But so what I got from that book was that yes, you do need to speak the things, but you also need to act as if they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
You have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not fake it till you
Yeah.
make it, act as if you
No.
it is, oh, so if this is what you want and you believe that is happening, how
Mhm.
would you act? What would you do? How are you changing your plans accordingly?
Mm-hmm.
And once I grasped that, I was like, oh, well, I'm a planner. So if I know I'm doing this thing, I'm going to start planning 6 months to a year
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
before, depending on what but major life things. You kind of got to plan those things out.
Right.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started making the plans, like, oh, okay, well, if I'm doing this thing, then I need to start making a list and making arrangements and making reservations. And I need these things. And I need to make sure that I'm budgeted correctly and blah, 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 blah. And as soon as I started actually doing those things, funny how things started working out for me.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Because
Not
not only
funny,
did
ha
you like
ha, but
change your
Mhm.
mindset, but like you said, you're actually changing what you're doing, your behavior. You
mhm.
know, and you're envisioning. The thing is, what was so powerful about that too is that you really visualized what your ideal future was going to be. And I work on with people a lot on that as well, because especially if you get in a really bad place and you're really stressed out or you're close to burnout, you lose the capacity to dream and really envision what that future could be like. Wow, what
Mhm.
your best life could look like. You know, because you think, oh, there's my life is so terrible, that's not even possible. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
but it is, and once you have that vision, then you just start to change that belief system, and then you start living as if you've already gotten it. So
Mhm.
yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So a little self promotion there. Go out and listen to Book Leads podcast. I was on a couple weeks ago, and
Nice.
uh, and I'm blanking on his name now, the host. Um, so obviously I did not plan this, or I would have had all the information. Let me drop the link for you. No, it's all off the cuff here, people. Kitty is
Uh-oh, we
there.
have an
Oh,
appearance.
sorry, my cat has decided to
I
make an
love it.
entrance. Yes.
He did.
I was like,
Hello,
Mom, you on a
kitty.
Zoom call here? Let me show you my butt.
Well, exactly. Hi.
Shortly after yours, we had Melissa St. Clair on, and her cat made the best appearance. Like or two of them, they were meowing in the back. It was a
Yeah, they
full
were having a full on
conversation.
conversation.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
And it is funny how the cats when they hear you talking, like whether you're on the phone or whatever, all of a sudden they need your attention, just like a
Oh,
Right.
kid,
yes.
you know.
Because you're
um
not paying attention to me.
yeah, hello, wait a minute.
You
All
sound
right.
busy.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah. So Lisa, thank you. It was great catching up with
It
you.
was great to catch up. This was fun. I always love how these conversations just kind of morph into,
Evolve,
whatever.
yeah.
I know. I never, anticipated we'd talk about The Secret, but that's awesome. And yes, I
Right.
have to check out your interview. That's very cool. Your
Yeah,
podcast.
it
Yeah,
was fun. And
absolutely.
it's odd that you say that, because the conversation did not go the way I thought it would. It was much more unscripted and just more of a conversation. He's
Yes.
really, really good at creating a conversation
Yes.
between two people. And it was almost like one of those podcasts where you feel like you're eavesdropping on someone's private conversation. Like those are the juicy ones, right? Right?
I think I have been a guest. I think he interviewed me, and I'm drawing a complete blank on his name, and I feel terrible.
Right.
I think he did. He interviewed me after I published my book. I sent my book to him.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he does do that. He
he's
will talk
great.
to
Oh my gosh, what is his name?
authors that try not to think about it, and it'll come to you.
It will. It will.
Yeah. But he actually, one of our guests recommended me to him
Allie?
as a
Was it
guest.
Allie?
No, it was Edie
No.
Clark. Edie
Oh,
Clark.
yeah.
Edie, yeah.
Yeah.
Edie, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But Allie was on his podcast too. I think she recommended her as well because Allie published a book shortly before you did.
Yes.
Well, about 6 months, a year before you did. She published in November.
Yes, because she was selling her books at your conference. In fact, I
Yes.
might have referred her to him. I can't remember.
Oh, nice.
Because I think, that's like part of it is you have to refer, somebody. So that's so funny. Oh my gosh, I feel awful now. If he's watching this, I'm mortified that I can't remember. His name.
Don't be. Don't be. Because I can't remember either, and I just talked to the dude.
Right.
But that's part of
subject. Time to change the subject.
Part of, I think, one of the traits that I've seen with entrepreneurs is this ability to not remember things, but
like right now.
Right. It's a secret power that we have.
I know. That's
to
super
forget
special.
the details, because we're not about details, right?
Yeah.
We're about, this is our big vision, and we just know we're going to get there. And all the little things that have to happen, we hire people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we don't got time or patience for that, and I am less that way. I have discovered from reading E-Myth Revisited, which I think almost every podcast we talk about that book, because it is such a fabulous resource for anyone who wants to start their own business. Please read this book before dive in, okay? Because it will really help you. It will really help you succeed. Because it helps you understand your strengths and weaknesses. And I learned by reading the book that I am a very detail oriented person. And I will research the shit out of something before I even put my toe in it.
Yeah.
That's right. I said a cuss word. The cat's looking at me like, oh my God.
He did. He got super like, what was that?
He's looking right now. I just gave you the ugly eye. That's so
side eye from the cat.
You are in trouble, Angelique.
No, it's funny. His name is Camus. And now the dog's barking. Super. So
can't hear it.
We live it good because we live in the animal farm. So all right.
Love it.
Unpredictable. You just never know. It's all good.
But I feel like that's one of the things that as entrepreneurs that we have, our the hidden superpower is not to get bogged down in the details, which means we don't always remember people's names. And it's not personal, okay? I'm trying to issue a disclaimer here for us, Lisa.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't his name John? John is resonating with me. John.
Okay, now I'm pulling up my calendar because I'm like, I gotta know.
Well, you know what? It's on my website. I posted that my interview with him. It's on my book page on my website. So that will
nice.
Can find it.
Lisa, John Jaramillo.
Yes.
John Jaramillo.
Yes.
What's the name of the podcast again, Angelique?
The Book Leads.
The Book Leads. Yes.
He lives in Detroit, doesn't he? Is it Detroit?
Oh, dude, I don't remember that. Now you're just going a little too far, Lisa.
Okay, all right, enough. Just rein me back in.
So Lisa has a companion workbook that goes along with her book. What's the name of your book again? Because I don't want to botch the name.
From Burnout to Best Life.
From Burnout to Best Life. So we'll
Yes.
drop the link in the show notes for that.
Yes.
And we do have a guest next week. Her name's Rebecca Heaton. And I was unable to access her bio. So I'm just flying by the seat of my pants here, going from memory. She is based out of Tampa. She is I think she's a co-founder of a company. It's called Trumbull Tech, but it's really cool because they specialize in providing remote tech for home-based businesses and entrepreneurs that work out of their homes. So
nice.
Great niche. And so we'll be talking to her about her entrepreneurial journey.
Awesome.
Love it.
That sounds great.
I'm so glad you were here.
Oh, this was so fun.
Everyone.
It was great. This was super fun.
So if you have anything else you want us to include in the show notes, just email it to us.
Okay. I will.
Absolutely.
I shall do that. Okay, I can give you a link to a fun little assessment that you can take. It's like a wellness check just to kind of see it rates, just your emotional, physical health and well-being, and it's free. It's just kind of a fun little thing. So I can send that to you as well.
And it's probably way better than any of those silly Facebook Disney character are you?
Yeah, no, it's not.
What Disney princess are you?
I know, right?
I'm the red-haired one. What was her name?
Wasn't that Tangled?
No.
The long hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch Disney anymore. Ever since I stopped working with teenagers, which sounds funny, but I don't watch Disney anymore.
All right. So, Lisa, thank you again for being and spending this time with us and hanging out with us. We absolutely adore you.
Oh, it was great. Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate it. It was very
fun. And we will see you guys, or you will hear us. We will speak to you. Same time, same channel next week with Rebecca Heaton. So we'll see you then.
Absolutely, everyone. Bye. Have a good week. Enjoy.